last panel, fireside chat of the day. We'll try to keep it short because you have an event, we have an event. We might, go to each other's events.
Let's do that.
Afterwards.
More events for more beers.
More beers. That would be definitely kind of a friendship discussions. For those who don't know you in the crowd, very big crowd, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Charles Guillemet. I'm CTO at Ledger. My background is cryptography and security. And I discovered Bitcoin in 2011. At this time, a friend of mine was mining with his own computer. This time it was possible to do that. And he was talking about Bitcoin like every day. So at some point I decided to have a look at this Bitcoin thing. And what I did was to study the cryptography, the decentralized consensus, all this thing. And I remember discussing with him, and I told him, like, oh, your thing is really interesting, like from a technology standpoint, it's amazing. But it doesn't go anywhere. Like there is no reason that this thing to be adopted in the future. And he continued to mine, and I continued to be not interested in Bitcoin. And in 2017, when I told him that I was joining Ledger, he asked me if I finally understood. And I think that was the beginning for me from the understanding of Bitcoin. And what is really amazing for me is the permissionless aspect, the fact that you really own your value and no one can prevent you to own and use your value. And this is possible because of two things, because of the decentralized consensus, the decentralization, censorship resistance, and self-custody. So this is why I think I really enjoy what I do at Ledger, making self-custody possible and secure for everyone.
And we'll definitely come back to Bitcoin afterwards.
Sure.
Because there's an exciting topic. I would love to get your view on it. But self-custody and Ledger products. So it seems you're starting with the Nano, or you're starting even like with the dinosaur of the Nano. It's just like a USB key, and then you had like to plug it maybe 2 or 3 times to a computer.
Yep.
Then the Nano. You launched recently the Stax. Maybe can you talk a little bit about the Stax and also kind of the roadmap on the hardware side of things?
Sure, let's do that. So first of all, this is the 10th year anniversary for Ledger. So Ledger has been launched 10 years ago. 2016 was the launch for the Nano S, and that was the beginning of the success for Ledger. And I think that was really successful for various reasons. The first one is like security, and that was always the focus for Ledger. But also the fact that we are an open platform. We have built an operating system, and anyone can build its own app in order to support its blockchain and its protocol. And this is what we did in 2016, supporting Ethereum at the very beginning of Ethereum. Then we did the Nano X. That was the same idea for the S, but with the possibility to have a BLE connection with your mobile. After that, we did the Nano S Plus, which was really a refresh for the Nano S. And recently, we announced the Stax. I feel being a sandwich man.
Can I touch it? Or is it real? Okay.
It's real.
Fantastic.
I have 3 of them, and then you can stack them. That's why we call them stacks. And there are some magnets on it. And this is a e-ink screen, so you can interact with it, and then you can change the background image with your favorite NFT. You can choose the name of the device, so that you can have one for Bitcoin, another for Ethereum, and for your different use cases. And we are very proud to be able to launch it. We announced it a few months ago, more than a few now, and we are finally able to ship it to our customers. So we are happy with that. For now, we are fulfilling the pre-orders, and in the summer we will reopen the order for everyone. So if you want one, just be a little bit patient.
Just call Charles, actually.
Now, frankly, I tried. No, not I try. I do not give like any shortcut because I want to respect people who trusted us for all these months.
Yes.
And that pre-order, so they go first. And for the future, we are working on. What we are trying to do at Ledger is really security. Security first. We never compromise with security, and I think you can testify this when we are doing plugin like security audits and so on. That takes time. So we never compromise with security, but we are trying to improve the UX. Because I think today there is still a lot of friction when you come in the blockchain space. And even more with a hardware wallet because you have something else to manage. And what are these 24 words? What are all these things? These new things. So I won't give everything about our roadmaps, but what we are working on is really to make the use of cryptocurrency as easy as possible without compromising with security. And we are also working on the very long run. We have patented several ideas, and because sometimes I'm asked, when does Ledger do a Ledger phone? This is a question I have.
That's a very good question.
Quite often. And the problem is with the platform you have on your phone today with Android and all these SoC, you can't have the right level of security that we have on the Nano or on the Stax. First of all, there is not always a secure enclave, not always a secure element. And when there is a secure element, you can't load your own operating system, which is an issue for us. And finally, even if we were able to load our operating system in this secure element, you don't have a secure display. So you don't have a strong connection between what is signed inside the secure element and what you are consenting with the display. So we are doing some R&D and we have filed a few patents around this idea, trying to build a secure hardware architecture that solves this problem on the SoC environment. So maybe in the future we will do a product around that. I don't announce anything. I'm just saying that we are doing R&D on this topic for those who are watching us and being cautious.
Right. And do you feel we should? Do you feel like the phone is going to be the end game for hardware security when it comes to crypto?
End game, I don't know. Frankly, it's really difficult to predict. On one hand, we are all very used to our phone, and they are very convenient because the UX is great. You have very fast CPU. You have a great screen, but you don't have the security. And on the other hand, you have those devices who are more like companion devices and very low resources when it comes to computation because it does one thing and only one thing. It's like implementing cryptography and doing security. So you can't run Android on this. So if you want to have Android-like experience on this device, it's not possible. But on Android, if you want to have security, it's not possible. So I don't know what's the end game because on crypto, at the end, we will need security. It's something that is really important. Because there is no trusted third party. When you have an issue with your bank account, you go to your bank and then you find a solution. Most of the time you are reimbursed. On blockchain, there is nothing you can do. If you lose your money, it's done forever and the blockchain is immutable. So security is something important to solve. This is what we are trying to do at Ledger, but improving UX is also a challenge that needs to be tackled.
And when it comes to improving UX, the Ledger ecosystem has two distinct parts, which it's great. It's coming together. One is definitely the hardware. The other one is the software in Ledger Live. So, what's your strategy for Ledger Live, and how can you improve the UX in this platform?
Yeah, sure. So I was mentioning the launch of the Nano S in 2016. We started building Ledger Live in 2018. Before 2018, there was no Ledger Live. You were using your device with some Chrome apps. After that, like Chrome discontinued Chrome apps, or with third-party software. And what we are trying to do on Ledger Live is quite simple. On one hand, we want to support as many protocols as we can. And we followed the same strategy, meaning that we have created an open platform where third-party developers can build the support for their favorite chain. For instance, we didn't build the support for Solana. Solana Foundation did it. So we are doing this for the application on the device, but also for the support on Ledger Live. So coin support is something really important. So we are doing this on Ledger Live. And also we are providing users with different services, either in an integration within Dapps. We have a Dapps browser in Ledger Live. It's not really a browser because we have some curation, but you can interact with different Dapps. Kiln is one of them. And also we have plenty of different services. You can buy, sell, swap, stake, use a credit card, all of this within Ledger Live. And we are not offering those services directly, but we are connecting our users to these services, and we are taking a small fee in this when some transaction happen. This is the second business unit we have at Ledger. We are very well known for the hardware, and then we have created this business unit around the services, consumer services. And the last one is the B2B business. We have a platform that's called Ledger Vault, and Ledger Vault is really for financial institution, group of people who want to manage their funds securely and implement some governance. And this is what we do. And the focus today, these days, is really on the consumer services, providing more and more services, having a one-stop shop for users in Ledger Live.
And we definitely had a great partnership there, and we part of the marketplace, and we can come back to this. But I mean, in my mind, is maybe one way to improve Ledger Live experience would be to have a web app when Ledger Live on web app. Yeah,
it's a good one, and this is something we have in mind for quite some time now. So now we have Ledger Live on mobile with Android and iOS, and we are supporting 3 different platforms for desktop with macOS, Linux, and Windows. We are using Electron, so we are not rebuilding everything, obviously. But more and more, everything is we are talking about Web3. So everything is happening on the web. So this is something we have in mind. Probably in the future, like moving into a web-based experience, we are talking about that, making sure that we have the right product in mind, because it's not only like taking Ledger Live as it is and putting it on the web. There was some stuff to think about.
Security trade-off as well, as you mentioned, right? It's always like UX and security.
Yeah, there was this part, and also in terms of product, this is something different. Also, you need, like, for instance, to memorize the different settings for the user. There is different account. When you have a desktop app, you can have all this data directly in the app cache. When it comes to your browser, what happens if you change the session? So you have to think about that, because
or you clear the cache or whatever, yeah.
Clear the cache. If you change machine, you would expect to find again your old session, because this is what users have in mind. Right? When you go on app.ledger.com, let's say, you expect that if you change computer, you will retrieve the same session.
Right.
When it's a desktop app, you don't have such expectation. So this is the type of things that we need to work on.
That's right. Yeah, and most of your users are anon with their wallets, and they don't want to like log in, for example, or put their email or whatever. Yeah,
totally
makes sense.
So you need to find a solution to the problem I mentioned without creating like a real account and so on. So those are challenges we have in mind. We have solutions to them, but we need to work on them first.
one of the reasons we know each other is because I think 3 years from now, I came to you to an event and I say, hey, we have this new staking solution that is completely seamless, where the rewards doesn't go only to one wallet, but we can, as Ledger and Kiln, take a commission completely on chain and on custodial matter. So when you stake 32 ETH as validators,
at the protocol level,
you'll be able to do it seamlessly at the protocol level with smart contracts. And yeah, can you maybe share a bit of like how was the experience? For us, it was definitely a fantastic experience because it was the first user of our on-chain platform. Now we have like 25 wallets, but Ledger was the first one, and Ledger really built with us, with your team, for months, something that was, we think, kind of new and groundbreaking into the space. Can you share a bit of your experience?
Yeah, totally. So I remember because at the beginning that was mostly Lido and Zech liquid staking protocol, and to be honest, I had some questions. The first one was like, will we have like users that have 32 ETH and that would like to use this type of service? And I wasn't sure at all. And when we launched, we had a very good surprise. This product had a very good success, and also.
And actually, just on this, you remember, for record, I remember like it was. We should do it on Ledger Vault, so Ledger Enterprise first. And I was like, okay, you could do it on Ledger Enterprise. You do whatever you want, but we don't launch it if you don't do it on Ledger Live, because we were quite bullish actually.
Yeah, I remember you were more bullish than us and than me.
Right.
Totally. There was this, and the second part was with the way that Ethereum staking is implemented at the protocol level, doesn't allow easily to get rewards and so on. So I had plenty of questions on this, and then I discussed with your teams, with your technical teams, and they explained us how you plan to use like smart contract and automate the deployment of the pod and so on. So I was amazed. Frankly, that was a very good discussion. And then we launched simply. So it took a couple of months, I think, in terms of designing the different framework, legal framework. How does it integrate within Ledger Live and so on. But when we launched, that was a good success, very quickly.
Yeah. For good reason. I think there's still $1.7 billion staked through the on-chain platform via Ledger, and you're still by far the largest integrator there. Definitely because you have a big AUM, but also because you were the first, much before anyone else. So. Yeah,
and when you think about the Ledger users, at the end we sold only 7 million devices. If you compare to like Crypto.com figures, who say there are 500 million users, so 7 million devices are very small compared to this pie. But when you take into account AUM volume, let's say, there are more than 20% of all the funds on chain that are secured by Ledger technology. So we have less users, but our users have really more value, and it makes sense. When you have like only $50 in crypto, you won't buy a hardware wallet directly. While when you have like millions, of course you are using your hardware wallet. So this is I think this is also why this product worked well, because our users have. There was more chance that there are 32 ETH than like a regular MetaMask user, let's say.
That's for sure. Another assets that you might have more or less 20% is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what's got you excited, and what maybe made you move into the space in 2017, 2018. There's this interesting narrative that is coming that's called Bitcoin staking.
And Bitcoin L2s.
And Bitcoin L2s. So I guess, how do you see this Bitcoin ecosystem evolving? You like it? You don't like it? Are you intrigued by it? How do you see this ecosystem evolving?
It's a good one. So yes, I'm very intrigued by all this new narrative. So I spent some time looking at those. And so first of all, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, and quite often we are comparing Bitcoin to Ethereum and so on, and Bitcoin maxis are saying that all the rest is shitcoin and so on. But for me, there is no comparison. It doesn't make sense to compare those two things. On one end, you have like a store value, and on the other end, you have a decentralized, trustless computer. Like these two things are not the same at all. There is no reason to compare them. And now we have some company who are trying to build stuff on Bitcoin, and they got inspired by what happened on Ethereum. At the end, this is what we are seeing with Bitcoin staking, Bitcoin L2s. But at the end, the problem is like with Bitcoin, you have like plenty of limitation. Bitcoin is only made for doing store of value and sending, receiving, and that's it. Like it's very limited, but it's on purpose. And you can't really build trustless computing on Bitcoin. And this is what they would like to do with Bitcoin proof of stake or Bitcoin L2s. And when we talk about like Ethereum L2, quite often you have a roll-up and then you settle on Ethereum. Ethereum makes sure that your sequencer, the sequencer of the L2 is not trying to cheat because Ethereum can verify this. You can't do such thing on Bitcoin because the scripting language doesn't allow to do that. So when we talk about Bitcoin L2s, these are actually Ethereum L2s, and you are kind of bridging in a semi-trustless manner some Bitcoin value to TBTC or such token on Bitcoin. But these are not real Bitcoin. So I think the narrative is a little bit misleading. This is what I would say about that. I'm not against what they are doing, no, but I think the narrative is a little bit misleading. You don't do Bitcoin staking. These are not Bitcoin L2s, but these products have some value. They have some traction. But when we discuss at Ledger with this company and this project, my recommendation is always the same. If we include this protocol, I want to make sure that our users are very aware that this is not like a real Bitcoin. They need to understand what happens. And it goes back to the previous discussion where on one hand, we'd like to have like a very nice UX with a very low friction. But in this kind of situation, you have to enter into the details and explain what's going on. And then your TBTC, for instance, are not real Bitcoin. They are tokens. And then you have like some counterparty risk and some security risk and that thing. And this is where it could be a little bit misleading. So that could be my main remarks on those. So maybe because we are happy partnered together, and we are very happy to include your Dapps and your protocol in Ledger Live. So maybe can you give us a little bit of insight on what's next for you and what we will integrate in Ledger Live ecosystem in the future from you?
Yeah, I mean that's a very good question. I mean, I guess like definitely all the new staking narratives that are coming. So restaking is a big one.
Yep.
Bitcoin staking with L2s, but also with restaking. Babylon, for example, is a good example of what you can find into shared security, reusing the Bitcoin security. And yeah, there's new protocols coming, and we hope to offer Ledger Live users all these new protocols. Maybe Ton, for example, that's a very good example. There's a lot of excitement around Ton. It's not easy to stake. It's sometimes a complex protocol to deal with, but the adoption of Ton, because of this go-to-market and number of users on Telegram that might just like transact stablecoin through the Ton open network. Might make a lot of sense for like this token and the appreciation of the token long term. The other part is we think you should be Ledger users should be able to interact with DeFi very seamlessly. So for us, staking is the primary rewards. Then you have stablecoins, rewards, lending, borrowing, maybe tomorrow money market fund. that might require KYC, so that will be another beast for Ledger users. But for those we might have a KYC on the wallet with zero knowledge proof. They might still be happy to use like a money market fund tokenized 4% low risk. And we really want to make this UX very easy for one Ledger Live users to rebalance on any rewards position, right? So you are staking ETH in one transaction, you should be able to stake or get rewards on USDC, USDT, USDT on TON, for example. And you don't have to do 4 steps, which is usually the case when it comes to non-custodial and on-chain. It's not the case with Stax. So the UX is a big part, and in the background, you will be able to unstake, swap, bridge, restake in one transaction with kind of an intent network and a rewards marketplace that we could offer, to Ledger Live users in a white label manner. So that's definitely something we're working on, and we would love to see Ledger using it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great.
And yeah, to your point about UX, I think it's one of the big challenges that we're going to have in this cycle. In the previous cycle, the big issue was really scalability, and there was a few apps, including OpenSea, for instance. OpenSea, if you remember OpenSea, that was a small app allowing to exchange NFT. Nothing complex, but when NFT started to have some traction, Ethereum blockchain was completely congested, fees were skyrocketing. And what we did as an ecosystem since then was to build infrastructure allowing to scale, and this is how all this L2 happened. But now we are in this new situation where there are many L2, not so many apps, but I'm not really afraid of it. I think the apps will come. But it creates new problem. It creates a problem in terms of fragmentation of liquidity and also fragmentation of UX. You have a specific wallet for this L2, another wallet for another L2, and then when it comes to bridging your USDC on Blast and you want to use them on Base, then everything starts to be very complex. And there was nothing. We are talking about chain abstraction. I've seen a couple of talks this afternoon about that, but there was nothing obvious that is secure and the UX is great. So I think this is one of the challenges we will have because you don't want newcomers to understand this complexity of bridging and so on. We need to abstract this thing. So I think this is one challenge that we will have in the future.
And I will have so many other questions on Bitcoin, for example, but I'm conscious of time, so maybe I'm gonna ask you last question. What are you excited about in this ecosystem? So you mentioned about chain abstraction. Is there any other innovation you're excited about?
Yeah, these days I'm really interested by mostly 2 things. One is not really technical, but I think this is a use case that is really interesting, is RWA. Right. Providing users around the world to be able to access to this financial instrument in a decentralized and trustless manner. Right. There will be some regulation issues around that, but I think this part is really exciting. And when I saw that BlackRock was one of the first betting on this, that was a little bit surprising to me, but making me even more bullish. And the second thing is more technology oriented. It's everything related to ZK. I think zero knowledge proof is really the future for various things. What is fun is when I learned about ZK was during my study. I was studying cryptography, and ZK was part of the program. And we were using ZK for the anonymity part, for the fact that you can prove stuff without revealing any information on that. This is one of the use cases that we can build on chain. But most of the use cases we have on chain are not for the anonymity part, but about the fact that you can trust the result of a computation. You don't even care about the anonymity of the computation. You can have access to it, but you can trust at the blockchain level this result. And this makes a lot of things possible for the future, because blockchain are very great objects, but they are like completely closed. Like everything is can be verifiable at the cryptographic level within the blockchain, but they are not aware of what's going on outside of the blockchain. And zero knowledge proof allows to get this information outside of the blockchain and trust them inside the blockchain. So I think this is something that will be important in the future, and we can see already several projects working on those. ZK Rollup is also a good example of this. So yeah, ZK in general, I'm really bullish on that.
Scalability outside off-chain proof for on-chain proof, and privacy in the future.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of privacy, even if it's challenged by government and state this day. I'm still a big fan of privacy. I think it's important. It's and we forgot about that because like the web made us like everything public in exchange for free services, but we completely gave away everything that should be private. I think we gave away plenty of data that are really personal and we shouldn't have. But it seems it's only important for me. I don't get why.
Yeah, I mean, we want to give example. I have a couple of examples there in my head, but yeah, for sure. Privacy is important, and on the web even more important.
Yep.
I'm conscious of time, so maybe we ask one last question to the audience.
Sure.
For Charles. One last question.
Anyone?
I'm a big fan, and the only thing that I wonder is how do you feel about interaction with Dapps? Because as a Ledger user and as an app developer, I'm not so quite sure if you're going for Ledger interacts directly with Dapp, or Ledger wants to be connected to MetaMask and the wallets of the world, because I see you exactly all over the place in this case. So I wonder where you see yourself going there. Yeah,
again, we are open platforms for building the support of your Dapp, of your like favorite protocol on the device and at the Ledger Live level. But we are also an open device. The idea is really that anyone implementing a wallet can support the device. So there is nothing is preferred. I always say this to the team, like I want users to use Ledger Live because it's the best product, not because it's only available on Ledger Live. Like it's happy to that Ledger Live compete with MetaMask, and even if MetaMask use our devices, I think I have no question about that. And what we are doing these days is to fight against blind signing, and we have worked on creating a standard so that even if you are using your device on MetaMask or Ledger Live or Wabi, the idea will be that in the future you will be able to understand everything that you are doing when you interact with Dapps, and we want to fight against the moment where you are signing a hash, and then maybe you are signing the transaction you wanted, but maybe you are signing away your wallet. So this is something we want to kill at Ledger Live level, but also Wabi, MetaMask, and others. Cool.
Great. I think it's time for a beer, so thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you very much.